Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more transfer rumours and gossip. So, huge developments around the situation regarding Bruno Fernandes. Now reportedly it's all been confirmed. Manchester United I think are set to sign Bruno Fernandes after Sporting Lisbon's game tomorrow against Benfica in the Portuguese Super Cup. So initially Sporting Lisbon did say there was orchestrating on playing Bruno Fernandes in that game. Of course, before they let him depart their football club. Obviously, reports emerged out yesterday morning. I think it was that Bruno Fernandes had left Sporting Lisbon's training ground after a meeting, to finalise his transfer exit. I do believe Bruno Fernandes and his agent had obviously met up with the Sporting Lisbon president Federico Varandas, also met up with the Sporting Lisbon director, of course, to finalise his permanent exit away from Sporting Lisbon. Because we do know for the entirety of the summer, Manchester United have been in for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, he has been one of our main priority targets. Obviously you got British, journalists coming out the other week, saying that Manchester United, haven't been interested in Bruno Fernandes all summer. But obviously, what was stemming from them British journalists, they're absolutely, talking a load of nonsense. Because obviously, as I've just said, he's been one of our main priority targets. Now, obviously, we do know in the last couple of days, reports have been emerging out, saying obviously, Tottenham have obviously, come back into the equation again all of a sudden. They've stepped up their interest in Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, Tottenham are looking to do further more investment in this window. There is only now 5 days remaining now in this transfer window. Tottenham have signed 2 players so far this summer. I think they're looking to sign at least 1 more player, and I think Tottenham are obviously orchestrating on bringing a number 10 in. So obviously Tottenham do want to get an attacking midfielder in. So obviously they've stepped up their pursuit now for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously they've been in for Giovanni Lo Celso I think for the majority of the summer. But obviously Tottenham are becoming infuriated over their chase for Giovanni Lo Celso, because Tottenham have already had a £52 million bid turned down for him. Obviously Tottenham have been locked in negotiations with months with Real Betis, but obviously have struggled to come to an agreement on a fee. I do know Real Betis, they're are open to selling the player, but Real Betis obviously have said they want around £70 million. Tottenham from their perspective are hopeful can either get Bruno Fernandes or Giovanni Lo Celso for around £55 million, but of course that figure is too insufficient, because you've got Sporting has been saying the value of Bruno Fernandes is around 70 million, but they probably accept to bid over £60 million for Bruno Fernandes. And obviously you've got Real Betis saying they want £70 million for Giovanni Lo Celso, but actually Giovanni Lo Celso has been Tottenham's main priority target, so I do believe they're seeing Bruno Fernandes as an alternative to Giovanni Lo Celso. But I do believe for large portions of the summer, Manchester United have been the favourites to sign Bruno Fernandes. Obviously we've been in negotiation with Sporting Lisbon for quite some time. Bruno Fernandes' agent has obviously been to the UK quite a few times, because obviously he's looking for the best possible deal for his client. I don't think he'll go to Tottenham. I still think Bruno Fernandes will come to Manchester United, even though Tottenham are in talks with Sporting Lisbon to sign Bruno Fernandes. They've held negotiations with Federico Varandas, the Sporting Lisbon president, because Tottenham chefs had flown out to Portugal, was it a couple of days ago, to obviously go hold talks with Sporting Lisbon over the possibility of signing Bruno Fernandes. But I think Sporting Lisbon have obviously come to accept the fact now for quite some time that Bruno Fernandes wants to leave Sporting Lisbon to obviously rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level. But we've been emerged as the favourites for quite some time, of course, to sign the player. Don't forget, a couple of months ago it was looking like Bruno Fernandes was going to be going to Manchester, but it was looking like he was going to be going to the blue half of Manchester, because obviously a couple of months ago Sporting Lisbon did assure that Bruno Fernandes would be going to Manchester City, but obviously his move to Manchester City never materialised, because obviously initially City had withdrawn their interest in the player. Don't forget, Liverpool have obviously been credited with an interest throughout this summer. It hasn't been one of their main targets, but Liverpool of course have been credited with an interest. But it is now basically Man United and Tottenham that are battling it out for him. But I still believe Bruno Fernandes' preference is Manchester United ahead of Tottenham, as he was saying a while back. But basically, I thought, in Sporting Lisbon's last game against Valencia, I thought initially, that was Bruno Fernandes' farewell appearance against Valencia. Of course, when he came off crying, obviously, that had fueled more speculation that Bruno Fernandes, of course, is on his way out of Sporting Lisbon. But it turns out now Bruno Fernandes' final game for Sporting Lisbon is going to be tomorrow against Benfica. Then I do believe then Manchester United are going to get a transfer completed for the player. There was reports coming out last weekend, as you all know, saying that Man United had reached an agreement with Sporting Lisbon. It reportedly said a fee of around 62 or 63 million pounds had been agreed between the two clubs, and it also said Bruno Fernandes was set to fly out to the UK, fly out to the UK to have his medical with Manchester United ahead of his proposed move to Old Trafford and all that. So this is what basically said last weekend. But he had Sporting Lisbon, they came out earlier on this week and they denied speculation that Manchester United, agreed, reached an agreement to sign Bruno Fernandes. And it did, as you say, on Tuesday. Reports emerged out on Tuesday, early on this week, saying that Man United had made an offer to Sporting Lisbon through Bruno Fernandes' agent. So that's what it allegedly said on Tuesday. But basically, I think for large portions of the summer that, Sporting Lisbon's valuation has since been a stumbling block of Bruno Fernandes making his proposed move to Manchester United, because for quite some time, don't forget, we've only been willing to pay £50 million for the player. Sporting Lisbon value him at £70 million, so they're seeking for over £60 million basically as Sporting Lisbon. Federico Varandas, the president of Sporting Lisbon, he's had his overarching view on it, and he revealed how much Bruno Fernandes would cost, and all that. This is what he said. The Sporting Lisbon boss, he's also had his overarching view on the speculation about Bruno Fernandes. He basically said that he's aware that he's going to leave now, but he did say before that he doesn't know if Bruno Fernandes will leave. He said, basically his future is up in the air, and he did say throughout the course of the summer that clubs have been keen on signing, but mainly Manchester United. But it was only coming out from Sky Sports the other week saying that we believe that the majority of the speculation about Bruno Fernandes was actually stemming from Portugal rather than Manchester. So that's what it said the other week. But like I said, I do want him to come to Manchester United because I think he'll be fantastic in our midfield. I do believe he's predominantly an attacking midfielder, and I'll be excited about the prospect of Bruno Fernandes linking up with Paul Pogba in our midfield because, for the entirety of the summer, Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United anywhere hasn't been dependent on, what happens with Paul Pogba, because, we've been for Bruno Fernandes for ages. And obviously, we was in for Bruno Fernandes, before the reports emerged about, Paul Pogba, considering, leaving the football club and all that. So Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United is definitely not dependent on, what happens with Paul Pogba. But I do believe Bruno Fernandes is probably going to cost us in the region of around, £60 million. So obviously we know Harry Maguire now is our third signing this summer, and we spent obviously £148 million. So obviously, with us getting Bruno Fernandes safe around £60 million, it's going to take our spending up to over £200 million. But like I said, we can afford it. We have, a massive club. We've got massive revenues. I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been giving him an extortionate amount to spend. But like I said, with Bruno Fernandes, he's got goals in him, he's got assists in him, he can create chances, he's good from set pieces, his tenacity and that's really, really good. And I wanted to, of course, get this deal more line. You've got Ed Woodward, obviously, that's working on getting deals completed. Obviously now he was working on the Harry Maguire deal. Obviously now that's been fully completed. It hasn't been announced as yet. He's set to undergo his Manchester United medical today, as you all know. But yeah, that midfield is one of the pivotal areas where Manchester United need to strengthen up. And Bruno Fernandes, I do believe, will bring us them goals that we do need. He'll rejuvenate the team, which is absolutely fantastic. But yeah. So I'm very, very, very excited about the prospects of Bruno Fernandes coming in. So it's going to be imminent that he's going to be our fourth signing this summer, and then hopefully after him, Paul Dybala can come to the football club as well. But yeah, like I said, Bruno Fernandes scored 31 goals last season Sporting. There's been, 32 goals he scored in 50 games last season. So his stats are very, very impressive, and I do believe he can produce the same element of the performances when he comes to the Premier League of what he's done, of course, in his 2 years in Portugal. Don't get me wrong, maybe there is a slight concern of element about him, because obviously he hasn't really played to the highest level yet. He hasn't really played in Champions League football. He has had a bit of experience in Champions League, but not a lot. And this is what he did say a couple of weeks ago, that the board had concerns about spending quite a bit of money on a player that has little experience of playing to the highest level. So it didn't actually say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wasn't going to get backed for this particular signing. Was weighing up other options to Bruno Fernandes. But yeah, I think he's definitely not going to. He's moving basically now to Manchester United. He's imminent. Once that game is over tomorrow, I think he will end up being a Manchester United player. Probably be confirmed on either Sunday evening, maybe even Monday morning. But now I did say there's only around 5 days remaining this transfer window. I think various reports have said Real Madrid now have entered the race for Bruno Fernandes. He had it early on this week. Was it saying PSG had entered the race? So quite a few teams have been in there for him, but it has been mainly Manchester United. He's still got 4 years left on his contract with Sporting Lisbon. Don't forget his initial release clause is £88 million. Is Bruno Fernandes. But yeah. And I do believe Bruno Fernandes as a midfielder, I think he can emulate into like a Scholes, or he can emulate into a Michael Carrick in my current opinion. But he will dramatically improve our midfield. But we're actually orchestrating on keeping Paul Pogba, winning 2 midfielders in that can replace Herrera and Marion Fellaini. We'll probably end up only winning one midfielder in, but it's better than winning none in. But yeah, like I said, we need a replacement for Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini. I do believe the club also needs to sell players because obviously these players at the football club that are problematic and do need to leave. A prime example, Darmian needs to go. He doesn't get the chance at Manchester United anymore. He serves 2 requirements of the club. I think Rojo needs to go. Rojo is injury prone, like I said. And Lukaku, hopefully he can go as part of a swap deal of Dybala coming to Manchester United. So I do believe some players need to go. Possibly now, if in regards to Paul Pogba, he could now anywhere stay at the football club because obviously we've put an extortionate amount on him. Obviously we're demanding that one around 180 million pounds. So basically we're demanding we are demanding more than double. We're demanding more than double than what we initially paid from Juventus back in 2016 because obviously we paid £89 million for him in 2016. Obviously he's our most expensive signing is Paul Pogba, but I think now he could stay at the football club because I think with the extortionate amount we're putting him, that could be the stumbling block of Paul Pogba leaving Manchester United. So it'd be even better if he does stay. It'll be even more beneficial. I know Paul Pogba's been, for the vast majority of his time he's been at Manchester United since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. He has been so inconsistent, but I believe he'll get better, and I think he's done well in pre-season. He did well in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. And don't forget, Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his contract with the club. Obviously he's still got an option to extend by a further a year. He's on around 290 grand a week, so he's not only the most expensive signing, he's obviously one of the highest paid players at the football club is Paul Pogba. So him and Bruno Fernandes in our midfield, just would complement each other fantastically well. Because analysing our midfield, it isn't good enough at the moment. You've got McTominay. To be fair to McTominay, he's gaining more experience. He's done fantastically well in pre-season, but like I said on my previous videos, I'm still very sceptical about him. I don't know if he's got all the attributes to become a huge success at Manchester United. He's still young, needs time to develop. I've got the same thoughts about Fred. Fred, I'm very sceptical about Fred. I thought also the club overpaid for Fred last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk. He hasn't got a fantastic pedigree. Fred was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk. Hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United. He's done well in pre-season. He did well towards the back end of last season. Fred, in my opinion, is a much better he's a better solution than Matic because I think he's more mobile and baller than Matic in that. I think there's quite a few midfielders that are better options than Matic. I'd probably say at the moment McTominay is even a better option than Matic because Matic is so inconsistent in that midfield, and I think he's been very inconsistent in pre-season. Matic has been very, very poor. I think he's the only player that's been poor in pre-season. He's too slow, too ineffective, isn't getting any younger. And I think, to be fair to him, he's highly experienced in the Premier League. And Matic, when he was at Chelsea, there were certain games he played well. There's some games he's played well in a Manchester United shirt. But I'm just I've got too many strong reservations about him. I think we paid £40 million for him. I think we overpaid for him then because the time, reflects back when we got Matic a couple of years ago, he wasn't even our main priority target. There was other midfielders at that time, we had on our current agenda, but we ended up last couple of years ago getting our third choice signing, and that was obviously Nemanja Matic. So like I said, vast improvements are needed in that midfield, but it is looking very imminent that Bruno Fernandes is going to be coming to the football club. But like I said, there is still lots to address in the squad. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say he's looking to sign 1 or 2 more players before this window does shut. I do believe we're going to have a better season this season, which is very, very good anyway. We're going to have a much better season because I think we'll have a better season than last season because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. We didn't win any silverware. We failed to qualify for the Champions League. Obviously, we've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the past 6 seasons. Since Alex Ferguson's retirement. But Solskjaer the other week was talking to him about our ambitions for this season. He believes, we'll be aiming for further up than 4th, but we're going to have a better season this season without a shadow of a doubt. I think this season, like I said, I think our expectations will be to finish in the top 4, maybe to have some silverware as well. But I think for my overarching view on it, I think this season we'll have a finish in the top 4, maybe even the top 3. We may even get second, but I am still sceptical about Manchester United winning the league, this season anyway. I think we could win it maybe in the next couple of seasons. Definitely, like I said, more investment is needed into the squad. But I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, can elevate Manchester United forward. I initially said I think our aspirations, will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. But obviously these expectations this season, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed them expectations, without a shadow of a doubt. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer give his overall analysis so far on this window. He's obviously explained how much of a difficult window it is because it's not always easy to get all the players that you want, especially when you're not in Champions League football, especially when you're not in Champions League football and all that, it's going to be hard, to get certain players, and some players may have reservations about coming to Manchester United. Dybala has got some element of concerns of coming to Manchester United and all that, because obviously we're not in a Champions League football and that, so there's an element of concern there. But we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got massive revenues. I know we've been inconsistent for the last 5 or 6 years, but we're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. So that still may urge certain players to come and join Manchester United. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gave his overall analysis on the transfer winning. He basically said, we need to be patient in this window. He basically said, we've got a good couple of players on the board and all that, because we have seen glimpses of how good Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka are so far. They're still both very, very young. They've got a hell of a lot of developments in them, the pair of Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. Like I said, there's still improvements needed in Daniel James, but he's still a prospect and he needs, time to develop. But he's done well in pre-season. And Wan-Bissaka, he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. And like I said, before we got Wan-Bissaka in, I didn't think we had a good defensive right back, since we had Gary Neville, and I do believe Wan-Bissaka is going to definitely succeed at Manchester United and that. So obviously we've spent £68 million on them. Obviously Harry Maguire is imminent, he's coming in anyway. He's going to be fully announced today. We do know we've paid £80 million for the player. Obviously it got revealed yesterday. It came out from the BBC, which is a very reliable source. Also came out from Sam Wallace in the Telegraph, and they said Man United and Leicester have reached an agreement and around an 80 or is it an £85 million fee that's been agreed. We do know Harry Maguire is set to become the most expensive defender in world football. He's set to become the most expensive defender in world football, which is very, very good. And obviously, the fee that we do pay for him is obviously going to exceed the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018, because Liverpool paid around £75 million for him. Paid around £75 million to him. But yeah, an £80 million fee has been agreed between Manchester United and Leicester after negotiations, were taking place, were happening, between Manchester United and Leicester for months. But obviously, yeah, he's set to undergo his medical today. I think he has actually arrived at Carrington now as Harry Maguire, and I think he did initially say he's set to sign a 5-year deal with an option to extend by a further year, which is very, very good. So I'm very happy about Harry Maguire coming in. Like I said on my previous videos, maybe some people think we have overpaid for Harry Maguire, and I do believe we have overpaid for Harry Maguire, but I think he's going to deliver the goods to Manchester United, because obviously we wanted a central defender last summer. We didn't get one because the board weren't back in the signs that Mourinho wanted to get in. We've been relentlessly linked with Harry Maguire anyway. I do believe also the club were tracking him, when he was a youngster at Sheffield United. I think, Alex Ferguson's been a keen admirer of the player for quite some time. Obviously, now it's good that Mike Phelan's got that reunion with Harry Maguire, because don't forget, during Mike Phelan's short tenure at Hull, he managed Harry Maguire. But yeah, he is now the most expensive defender in the world. Maybe we have overpaid for him. I initially said that £70 million would have been reasonable for Harry Maguire in this market. It would have been reasonable, but I said over that mark, would be paying him a bit too much for the player. But I don't really care. I know Solskjaer said we're not intending on overspending on our transfer tax, and quite a few people said, really, we should be sensible over our recruitment this summer. But yeah, Harry Maguire is a very, very good signing. Like I said, he's going to be a fantastic upgrade to the likes of Smalling and Phil Jones, and obviously, he's got good physical attributes as Harry Maguire that our current defence haven't got. As a Harry Maguire, because his distribution's good, he can pass the ball well, he's good at playing out from the back, he's good in the air. There may be a slight element of concern, he's not really a faster Harry Maguire, but in my opinion, I don't think that's a current issue. Still a lot of years ahead of him, only 26 years of age. Obviously, he's British, and of course it's very beneficial because Harry Maguire is well Premier League proven. But initially, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer identified him as his number one target. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer initially instructed Ed Woodward, to get the deal over the line, because obviously, I think this was following the serious knee injury that Eric Bay had sustained. Obviously, Eric Bay's a huge doubt for this season. I think he's out till up to Christmas is Eric Bay, but I think Eric Bay's Manchester United career has been mainly affected, the amount of injuries he has sustained. And all that, and we have bought central defenders in recent years. Like I said, we bought Lindelof a couple of years ago for £31 million from Benfica. We signed Eric Bay over 3 years ago now from Villarreal for £30 million. that's what we currently did. But yeah, like I said, we need an upgrade in that defensive area. Now we've got 7 central defenders when Harry Maguire's move to Manchester United is officially completed. So we may consider offloading one central defender. I think it's Rojo that needs to leave the football club, because I've got the same thoughts of Rojo of what I've got. I've got the same thoughts of Rojo of what I've just said with Bay, because Rojo's injury prone. That's why his Manchester United career has been mainly affected. Some people are saying we should offload Alex Tuanzebe. We should put him out on loan for another season because it might be beneficial for his future. Again, a bit more experience. But he did really well, Alex Tuanzebe, on his loan spell with Aston Villa last season. But we've got a lot of central defenders now, so maybe we could orchestrate on selling one. But we do know, Solskjaer did say he wanted to put Harry Maguire alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line, and they're going to do really well together. They're going to be a fantastic centre-back partnership. I also believe we're going to consider, giving Harry Maguire the captaincy, and I think we should give him the captaincy because I think he'll be a fantastic leader in our back line. But yeah, very happy about this news. Obviously, for quite some time it was, for large portions of the summer, it was seen to be Leicester City's valuation that seemed to be the stumbling block, of Harry Maguire, leaving Leicester, because obviously at one point, we was reluctant to pay more than £70 million. Leicester obviously, were demanding in the excess of £80 million. Obviously, we've had 2 bids turned down for Harry Maguire. Obviously, we had a £70 million bid turned down for him in early July. But Leicester were just saying, they wanted £80 million. And then in the end, we got convinced to meet Leicester City's valuation. He said this earlier on this week, before we actually come to an agreement on the fee. It said we was willing to pay £80 million, and we was going to give Leicester till Monday to currently accept this offer. But like I said, Harry Maguire informed Leicester that he wanted to leave. He told Brendan Rodgers the other week. He also told his Leicester teammates that he does want to leave Leicester to obviously rejuvenate his career and obviously take his footballing career to the next level. And he wants to relish this opportunity now by coming to Manchester United, because he believes himself it's going to be beneficial for his career. But Brendan Rodgers has had his overarching view on it, and he came out yesterday and he confirmed that a fee's been agreed between Man United and Leicester of around £80 million, and he basically said he's satisfied with the money that Leicester have generated from his current departure. Obviously now Leicester are going to want a replacement for Harry Maguire, and initially Leicester didn't want to sell him. They didn't want to sell him. They were under no financial pressure to sell him. This is why they're demanding an extortionate amount for him, because they were trying to convince Harry Maguire to stay at their football club. But Harry Maguire actually was becoming infuriated with Leicester with their reluctance to sell him to Manchester United. Obviously Leicester did win 2-1 yesterday against Atlanta. Obviously Harry Maguire wasn't part of their squad in that game. Obviously Harry Maguire was absent from training this week as well. That was on Monday, early on this week. So that had fueled more speculation. Allegedly, Leicester said he was ill. And so he's going to be our third signing this summer. So it's going to take our spending up to around 148 million. If it is actually 85 million instead of 80 million, it's going to take our spending up to 153 million pounds. But Damasio broke out the news early on this week, just like he did with Bruno Fernandes. Damasio basically said... Damasio basically said, Man United are in Man United's deal for Harry Maguire is in the final stages of coming to an agreement. And Damasio is very reliable Italian journalist. The majority of the time he does get things wrong sometimes. But yeah, Harry Maguire now is going to be officially a Manchester United player when, of course, he has completed his medical. But like I said, he has currently arrived at Carrington. But Leicester are going to make a huge profit on the play because, Leicester only paid £17 million for him from Hull City a couple of years ago. Obviously, when he was at Leicester, he made 76 appearances in all competitions. 69 of those appearances had come in the Premier League. He initially only signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer. So he was initially under contract with them until 2023. So initially he still had 4 years left on his contract. But I do believe this is good business for Manchester United and Ed Woodward. This is a really, really good business from the football club. Because like I said, we've had issues defensively for several years. We tried getting a defender last summer, we didn't get one. Obviously, we had a bad season last season as well defensively. We conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games last season, so that just indicates out the issues that we've currently got defensively. And like I said, we haven't had a world-class central defender since we had Ferdinand, since we had Vidic, because they were a fantastic partnership, back under the Alex Ferguson era. So very delighted about the news of Harry Maguire coming in. So at last, his transfer saga has now come to a conclusion. I thought Man City were going to get him at one point. City were the red hot favourites because actually Harry Maguire's actual preference was Manchester City over Manchester United. City were orchestrating on paying him around 280 grand a week, but obviously Leicester's valuation was a stumbling block of him going to City because City were reluctant to pay what Leicester were currently demanding. But I think he's going to do really, really well at Manchester United. So I am very, very happy about the news. But I did say, even when we've got Harry Maguire, I still believe further investment is definitely needed. Further investment is definitely needed at Manchester United, of course, because we didn't get anyone in January. We didn't get our number one targets last summer. But Solskjaer basically said at the end of last season his transfer strategy is to recommend a number of young players that can come in, grow, develop, and emulate into superstars. And Harry Maguire, he fits that strategy perfectly. He's still young. He's in his mid-20s. Also British as well, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talents to Manchester United this summer. But I always thought we was going to get Harry Maguire. I just thought it was a matter of time. I said once a fee's been agreed, the deal is going to get over the line. I know we heard two cynical stories come out. Was it the other couple of weeks ago now? Bleacher Report reported out the other week saying that we'd agreed an £80 million deal with Leicester for Harry Maguire. And it said his move to Manchester United was imminent. Now that story got proven to be cynical. And then you had Duncan Castles coming out about, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? And I can remember saying that we'd agreed an £80 million deal with Leicester for Harry Maguire. But obviously there wasn't any credibility in that, and that got proven to be a load of nonsense. But when it reports on the BBC and that, when it's coming out from Sky Sports, it is trustworthy. When they say a fee's been agreed, a fee has currently been agreed. Not just some journalists aren't reliable out there. Basically sometimes they're just right on certain stories, to basically, justify their existence. But yeah, definitely Harry Maguire is coming to Manchester. I think it's a 5-year deal with an option of a further year, so it's basically a 6-year deal, of course. And I think we're more than doubling his wages as well. So very, very happy with him currently, coming in. But the club now may anywhere orchestrate on, selling one central defender. But there has been a hell of a lot of speculation throughout the course of the summer, of players coming in, and of course players going out, as you are currently aware of. But like I said, still lots needs to be addressed in the squad. So as I've been updating you about Paulo Dybala, like I said, there's been a huge developments around the stories of a huge developments around the situation of Paulo Dybala. Obviously, as he updated you on, now Paulo Dybala has become infuriated with Juventus. He's obviously sad as well with Juventus, and I don't think he likes the way that he's being treated by Juventus. Reportedly, Dybala has been forced to train on his own. Obviously, Juventus are basically trying to force Dybala out of their football club. Obviously, Dybala's initial preference was to remain in Turin, but there has now been a change of scenery. I think he doesn't like the way he's being treated, so now I do believe he wants to currently leave Juventus. Obviously, he held talks with Maurizio Sarri regarding his future. He obviously he returned back to Turin, was it a couple of days ago. But for this swap deal to go through between Dybala and Lukaku, Dybala's obviously now got to agree. He's got to agree to move to Manchester United. So the deal hinges on Dybala agreeing a move to Manchester United. Obviously, negotiations been going on between United and Juventus. Obviously, Dybala's agent has obviously been in London. He's obviously held negotiations with Manchester United. Obviously, he's looking to get a deal. He's looking to thrash out a deal, for his client. And I do believe also there's been secondary talks between his agent and Manchester United of the personal terms, because recent reports are saying that Dybala wants around 350 grand a week, so he's demanding a significant pay rise. And I think Man United are willing to offer him around £10 million a year. I think Dybala said he wanted around £10 million a year after tax. I think Dybala has got some concern of elements of coming to Manchester United. And also he did say he doesn't want his wages to be cut by 25% if we do fail to qualify for the Champions League. This is what he basically said. So Dybala wants 350 grand a week. We can afford him to give him that, even though we have got players on big contracts. We can still afford to give him that because Lukaku has been part of the deal. Obviously, it's going to help us with our wage bill. It's going to obviously free up funds to give Dybala that significant pay rise. I do believe Lukaku's already agreed the personal terms with Juventus. He's already agreed the personal terms with Juventus, and I think he's agreed a contract worth around 160 grand a week. So it's all dependent now on Paulo Dybala. I do believe he's not allowed to return to training with Juventus, and he's not allowed to return to training with Juventus until next week, until his transfer saga is resolved. So I've reportedly Juventus forced him to train on his own. So they're forcing Dybala basically out of their current football club. But I think Ronaldo's also instructed Dybala to come and make a move to Manchester United. Obviously Ronaldo, for me, his overarching view, maybe thinks it will be beneficial for Dybala, because obviously Dybala is surplus to requirements now at Juventus. Obviously, he's initially lost his place in the team. He lost his place last season to Cristiano Ronaldo, but I'd love Dybala, to come to Manchester United, and I think it's very beneficial for this swap deal to go through, because you've got Dybala surplus to requirements at Juventus. You've also got Ronald Lukaku now surplus to requirements at Manchester United. So that's to keep you up to date of what's going on with Dybala. But like I said, hopefully our next two signings are going going to be Bruno Fernandes and Paul Dybala. I think Paul Dybala predominantly plays as a number 10, obviously, so that's where Manchester United may concentrate on putting him. And I think he can also play as a forward, can Dybala. But very, very good player indeed. That his goal scoring pedigree is fantastic. He's got endless potential. He's a very, very good agile player. Still only 25 years of age. Still got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. But for me, Dybala is in my top 10 category, and I think he'd be a fantastic upgrade to the likes of Lingard, Juan Mata, and all that. With Paulo Dybala. So we've been tentatively linked with him. He hasn't been for large portions of the summer. He hasn't been one of our main priority targets. The links have really emerged more in the last week or so, because obviously there's been a lot of credibility in the Dybala saga and the Lukaku saga for the last week. But yeah, I do want Paulo Dybala to come to Manchester United, because he scored a lot of goals in his 4 years with Juventus, 182 appearances, 78 goals in all competitions. In his entire career so far, he's scored 118 goals, but he wants 350 grand a week to join Man U. So basically that'll be around £230,000 pay rise, because he's only on 120 grand a week at Juventus at the moment, which equates to around £6.5 million pounds a year. But yeah, that's just basically the latest news. Keep you up to date on there with Paulo Dybala. But I'd love him to link up with the likes of Martial and Rashford and Lingard and that in our front line, and Mata and that. But he's going to be a good upgrade anyway to Lingard and Mata. But I can see the vast improvements in Manchester United. Like I said, we've done well in pre-season. 10 goals scored, 1 goal conceded. 5 wins out of 5. Our last pre-season game is this evening against AC Milan. So hopefully we're going to make it 6 wins out of 6. But I think the young players have done really, really well in pre-season. I do believe we look much better in the attacking third of the pitch. We've got you've got Daniel James with electrifying pace. You've got Rashford with good pace. You've got Martial with good pace. Martial and Rashford can both play out wide. They can both play centrally. But I think we'll orchestrate on playing Martial more centrally this season, because he seems to fulfil that number 9 role, really, really well. And I know he seems to primarily play off the left as Martial, but he looks better centrally in that. I think Rashford's supposed to look better centrally. But everyone will get their chances in the Premier League this season, just like the majority of the players have been given a chance in pre-season. Mason Greenwood's going to definitely get his chance in the Premier League this season. He's been assured more playing time, which is very, very good. Chong, he may get his chance this season. But I think, on that left-hand side, we look much better on that left-hand side. Well, to be fair, last season, the majority of our attack was coming from that left-hand side. I think Luke Shaw, he's very reliable, definitely keep him at the football club. He was the double player of the year last season, reflecting on his impressive performances. And I think we look okay on that left-hand side. Daniel James primarily plays off the left, but we've put him on the right quite a few times. But Daniel James, can obviously play on each flank. But yeah, so that's mainly everything to update you. So Harry Maguire in, then I should presume it's going to be Bruno Fernandes then hopefully it's going to be Paulo Dybala, and that's good transfer business done by Manchester United, which is very, very good news. So yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.